Welcome back to the Bourbon Battles studio. My name's Joe, and I got a cool episode for you today. I'm going to talk to you about a distillery out in Iowa called Cedar Ridge. Stay tuned to learn all about it. Okay, thanks for sticking around this long. So this is what we're going to talk about today. Cedar Ridge, it's out of Iowa. It's Iowa bourbon whiskey. If you haven't heard of these guys, you probably need to start figuring this out, guys. Everybody chases the Blantons and the crazy old Foresters and the crazy wild turkeys and all of this stuff, right? And I love all that stuff just as much as the next guy. But if you do some due diligence, you're going to start to find distilleries like Stolen Wolf, Hard Truth out of Indiana, and Cedar Ridge out of Iowa. Guys, these guys are doing some amazing, amazing things. They've been so gracious to send me most of what I've got here. A couple of these bottles were sent to me or put on loan to me by my good friend Troy, and they happen to be B Liquor store picks. So, you know, if you don't know about B Liquors and you're in northern Indiana in that Hobart, Chicagoland area, you need to learn about B Liquors. Go see my friend Harry over there and make sure you tell him I sent you. So amazing, amazing store picks, and we'll see if these shake out. These two store picks that we're going to review here in a little bit happen to be from SLB. The SLB stands for Strong Like Bull, if you didn't know that. That YouTube channel's a little bit smaller than mine. You know, those guys are doing some awesome things, and if this makes your way back there, Trenton and you guys, if you get a chance to reach out to me, I'd love to do something with you. I'm in Indiana as well, and I think we have some mutual friends. So that being said, here's what we're going to go through today. We're going to talk about their barrel proof whiskey. Pretty cool stuff. That was 116 proof. Their small batch, we're going to start with this one. Their small batch, this is from Slipknot, right? I don't know that they make this anymore, but it is amazing at barrel proof. So let's see what the small batch tastes like. I already showed you the double barrel. We're going to talk about their double barreled whiskey. We've got a double barrel SLB basement bar pick. We're going to talk about their straight rye whiskey. This one is an SLB pick. I believe I also have a bottled and bond. That's correct. This is kind of what turned me on to these guys, to start to understand what they're capable of. Then we're going to do a couple finished whiskeys, a maple and a port. So let's dig right into these. Let's start. I've got them in some kind of order. Let's start with the Slipknot number 9 small batch Iowa whiskey from Cedar Ridge. They do have a few more whiskeys out there, some higher end whiskey, if I'm not mistaken, that I'm super interested in, and some malt stuff. You know, if you're not aware, malt is taking off like crazy. You're going to see American malt whiskeys everywhere, as they just got a new classification. Kind of like bourbon or Tennessee whiskey or Scotch or Irish whiskey, or all these things that have to have certain things to hold that label statement. American malt whiskey just got that. So the notes on this are amazing. This is it's a little bit fruity. This is doesn't drink like it's got much proof, and it doesn't. It's 90 proof. So I started with this because I believe this is probably the closest thing to their base product that I own. I'm sure they have a small batch. I just don't have it. If you're new to whiskey and you're just starting out, this stuff right here, I know you can still get this in Indiana. It's around. I haven't seen the barrel proof in a very long time. But if you're new to whiskey and you're looking for something that's smooth, yes, whiskey assholes, you can say smooth. There's nothing wrong with that. That is amazing, amazing whiskey. And the reason I bought that, and that one's mine, I paid for that, is I had tried over at Hoosier Q in Martinsville, Indiana. Amazing little bourbon bar in central Indiana, central southern Indiana. Probably the biggest bourbon selection of any bar in Indiana. It's absolutely amazing. I think they're right around 800 unique labels. So I tried the barrel proof there, the Slipknot whiskey. I thought it was absolutely amazing. Thanks, Blake, for that suggestion, which ironically enough is also where I tried the bottled and bond straight rye whiskey from Cedar Ridge. That's when I reached out to them. They'd sent me some stuff before, and I said, hey, listen, I just tried this. I don't have a bottle. I can't find one. I got to review this. So thank you very much, Cedar Ridge. Next up, and I love some of the stuff they put on these labels, right? As you hear Charlie going batshit crazy in the background. This is batch number 1 of their barrel proof. It's a number 3 chart, 116 proof, straight bourbon whiskey, so it meets all those requirements. And they put the mash bill on here: 74 corn, 14 rye, 12%, 2-row malted barley, and it's 3 to 4 years old. I remember when they sent this to me some time ago, and I've reviewed this in the past, I believe, that 3 to 4 year old age statement scared me a little bit. Reading down the label a little bit more: distilled and bottled by Cedar Ridge. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that distilled statement to make sure you know exactly what you're getting. So let's try this Cedar Ridge barrel proof. It's just kind of a lot like the number 9 small batch, the Slipknot whiskey, but on steroids, right? The flavors are amped up that much more. Man, it's been a while since I've tasted this, and you know, I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of things to choose from every day to drink in here. This is something I need to visit more often. Not only visit more often, get a backup bottle of, which is something I very, very rarely do. So need to explore that a little bit deeper. That is fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. So we're going to move right along, right? Everybody loves double barreled and toasted and all that stuff, right? So they sent this along here. This is their double barrel bourbon. What I like about it, it's a little higher proof than a lot of people do. It's 105 proof. I have a special affinity to double barrel bourbon and toasted, right? I like these things. I like them a lot. I like the sugars that come out of it. This is batch 3, bottle 184, comes to us 105 proof. Aged twice in new American oak barrels. Let's see how this stands up. You might see this soon in a blind with some Peerless double oaked bourbon. Proofs are close enough. They're within 5 proof points. See how this stands up. If you know me, you know I love my Peerless. There's still some of those same notes that you get in the other bourbons. But some other things, right? You get more of that oak and all that stuff comes out like you would normally expect in a double barreled bourbon, double oak, toasted, whatever you want to call it. And yes, I understand there's some differences between double oaked, double barreled, and toasted. I get it. There's some nuances there. We're talking about nearly, you know, we're splitting atoms here. So what's interesting to me about this stuff, everything you see here is extremely reasonably priced, right? It's just not that bad. So I love that, and I do think it would hold up well against the double oak, but I think I actually prefer the barrel proof bourbon a little bit more. That's not to say that I wouldn't buy both of them, because that would be inaccurate. So let's just step it up and see what a little bit of proof does to it. This is the Cedar Ridge single barrel, double barrel bourbon, coming to us at 119.7 proof. So we're picking it up another 15 proof points nearly. Hand selected and bottled at cask strength by SLB Drinks. SLB, again, love what you guys are doing. So the mash bill on this one is 74, 14, 12, which is exactly what it was in the bourbon that we tried. So let's check this bad boy out. Handwritten stuff on there. Everything's very similar. Let's see how the boys up at SLB did. Again, you guys see this. Love to sit down and chat with you. I talked to Harry about that not long ago. So one of my favorite things about a bourbon is the nose. And this nose isn't, it's okay. There's a little bit more there. So the difference between this and this, again, I'm going to describe it a lot like I did with the small batch to the barrel proof, right? It's on steroids. Many, many more flavors come through on this bottle. It's quite a bit better than this. I'm guessing it's a little more expensive as well. So now I would tend to go with this over the barrel proof bourbon, where I would take the barrel proof bourbon over the shelf product, right? Let's take sip number 2. It's excellent. It's absolutely excellent. Kudos to whoever tasted that up at SLB. Great job you did. In fact, before I get too far down the road, I want to do an experiment with the barrel proof bourbon and just a drop of water. And you know, if I always keep one of these around when I'm tasting whiskey. You can get these things on Amazon for, you know, like nothing. You can get 5 for $5 or something or less. Then I put some water in there. You can use bottled water, you can use tap water, you can use all these things. I use Kentucky limestone water that you can buy because I'm a nerd. But what we're doing, we're not mimicking an ice cube with this thing. What we're doing is we're just changing the makeup of it. I'm not a scientist, but the acids and all these things, the FAE, right, Makers talks about it, the fatty acid esters and all that stuff. It just changes the makeup. It breaks things up, the oils and all these things. I'm kind of indifferent on that one, whether or not I probably wouldn't put water in it, but you should try, right? Sometimes people are really surprised what one drop of water will do. I'm going to try to move along fairly quickly here because these things tend to get long in the tooth when I find something I really like. Next up is our 8-year-old straight rye whiskey. I'm sorry, that's the SLB pick. Let's start with the bottled and bonded, which of course is 100 proof. Now I want to check. It is distilled and bottled by in Iowa. So this is even their rye is their product, right? A lot of times we'll see that people will make their own bourbon, but not their own rye because MGP is so good at it, but this is their own stuff. So let's check this bad boy out. I don't think there's an age statement on here, nor is there a mash bill. Oh, but we do. It does tell us that it's 85% rye, so it's a very high rye whiskey. And if I recall correctly, I'm in for a real treat here because when I had this before, I absolutely loved it. In fact, it prompted me to reach back out to them and see if they could help me source a bottle. It's absolutely amazing. People talk about great ryes that have come out this year, and I feel like the evolution of ryes is coming so quickly. You know, Hard Truth does a lot of neat things. The Sagamore does a lot of neat things. Peerless is doing a lot of great things with ryes. Jack Daniels, of course, has one of the best ryes in the world that just recently came out. So ryes are on the uptick, and this rye at 100 proof can be mentioned with any of those. So if you like rye, do not hesitate to find one of these. Again, they're reasonable. If I did that on a Friday rye day, and I think I have, you could probably go back and find it, it would get an A. That would be based on the nose, palate, finish, and value. So here we go. This is the same rye whiskey, aged 8 years, so I assume it's a little bit older. I assume, with no age statement, this is 3 or 4-year-old rye whiskey, which is okay with rye. This is going to come to us at 119.5 proof, again from SLB Drinks. So these two store picks were released at B Liquors in Hobart, Indiana. Not sure if they have any left. Get on Facebook, send Harry a message. Get on the Googles and call Harry and ask if they have any of the Cedar Ridge stuff left. He'll tell you. So let's see how these add up here. Oh, the other rye. Oh, my goodness. The other rye that I failed to mention was the Stolen Wolf, one of my favorite ryes out right now. But so, you know, I mentioned all those. These ryes can be mentioned in those same arguments. That is phenomenal. It's a good bit better than this. I did taste this before. This is on loan to me. Both the SLB picks from B Liquors are on loan to me from my good friend Troy. Thank you very much, Troy. I'll have some pocket whiskey when I see you at the Elks Club. I don't remember it being that good when Troy and I tasted it for the first time. I remember thinking this was better. So I'll make the same statement I made with the other pick. This is good. This is just a little bit better. Well worth the extra spin. So check out their ryes. Now we're going to get into some fun stuff. I have a big affinity to sweeter whiskeys. So therefore I like finished whiskey, right? I really like finished whiskey a lot. So here we got the Cedar Ridge Port Cask Finished Bourbon. This comes to us at 94 proof. Let's see what else they tell us on the label. This is a small batch product. Cool. It's their flagship bourbon, so there's no mash bill in here, but we can figure that out because it's the same as the others, we assume. It is distilled and bottled in Iowa as well. It's finished in estate port wine casks after they age at New American Oak. Let's see what we think, guys. This is they talk about stone fruit, vanilla, spice, all these things. I'm not big on tasting notes because everybody's palate's a little bit different. So obviously I've had this before and I believe I've reviewed it before. So let's see what we think. Cedar Ridge port cask finished whiskey. Super sweet dessert whiskey. Tons and tons and tons and tons of vanilla and caramel in there. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I think I've probably had a port whiskey somewhere along the line that I like better than that, but I sure as hell couldn't tell you what it is. That is absolutely amazing. And I'm going to tell you how I rank these at the end here. And I bet you this one does very well. That's amazing whiskey. Love that, love that, love that. Last one for you is their Sir Maple, again from Iowa. Comes to us at 86 proof. It is Iowa bourbon whiskey finished in maple syrup barrels. You have heard of this. Everybody's doing it. You know, the Starlights do it. I think Bear Wallow in Gnawbone, Indiana does it better than anybody. So let's see how this stands up to Bear Wallow. If it's even close, it's a huge win in my book. Let's see. Part of my problem with maple finished whiskeys is we get it's not flavored whiskey, right? So you got to make sure you understand the difference between the two. If you don't, reach out to me. Hey, speaking of reaching out to me, check out these guys, right? Stave and Thief Society. Use discount code BBB for Bourbon Battles Blind. 15 gets you 15% off their executive bourbon steward course. It's fantastic stuff. Not much of a nose on this. Very subtle on the maple. I don't know if it's better than Bear Wallow. I'd have to do them side by side. I'd say I'd put them in the blind, but of course nobody, the markets are so small in each, nobody would watch it. So either one of these you can get, the Bear Wallow or the Cedar Ridge. They're amazing. A good clip, better than any of the others I've ever had. The maple's there, but it's in the background just like I like it. So that's very much appreciated. It's excellent. So let's get into, I want to do one more thing before we leave you here. I want to rank these from my most favorite to my least favorite. I'm going to exclude the store picks because you have to get those in Hobart, Indiana, and there's no reason to talk about those, right, for this. So my number one favorite, it's got to be the barrel proof whiskey. This stuff was excellent. I think if I put it there, it'll be right to you. So number one, barrel proof. That was an easy one to pick. Number two, also easy to pick, port finished. I love that stuff. Number three, because we're going to exclude the others, is the straight rye whiskey. Stuff is fantastic. Number four is the double barrel. It's excellent. And last but not, next is the Slipknot stuff, right? This stuff was excellent. Small batched goodness. Barrel proof, it probably would have moved all the way up to possibly number one. And I've had that before. And now that I've had it again, next time I'm at Hoosier Q in Martinsville, Indiana, I will probably be trying that again and again and again. That's the store pick. Let's put this up here so you can see the right label. And last but not least, as excellent as it is, and I'd highly recommend it, buy it, it's their Sir Maple syrup finish. Hey, I want you to let me know in the comments if you've had any of this stuff, what you think about it. Let me know in the comments if you had anything from B Liquors or SLB's picks. Tag SLB in this. That'd be cool to have them reach out to me. I'd love to do some work with them. Guys, one of my favorite things to do with what I do, I get paid literally, I think, about $0 to do this. So one of my favorite things about this is to find these new things like Cedar Ridge and Stolen Wolf and Hard Truth and these little distilleries that nobody knows about, right? Casey Jones is coming up soon. Wow, what great stuff that is. 1816 Indiana Rye, King's Family Distillery. Guys, there's all these things out there. Chase that stuff. Stop chasing these. Guys, everything on this table, although very much different, is better than this. Go try to find one of these today. Go try to find one of these and take it home, right? You can't do it. but you can get one of these depending on where you're at, as long as they distribute there. So, hey, I want to remind you, drinking bourbon is supposed to be fun. Do it with your friends. Do it responsibly. Do it blind when you can. But I want to remind you, whatever you do, don't drink and drive. See you next time. Cheers.
If you drink, don't drive to the watermelon crawl.